ask everyone to sit as we have an announcement from our county executive.
Mr. Chairman, these are extraordinary times that we're facing, not only as a state, but as a nation and a community. So I respectfully ask for the legislative body of Warren County, Tennessee, to suspend all the rules for this evening and adopt the following emergency agenda that is presented in front of you tonight. And so you'll need a motion and a second for that and a voice count.
We need a motion by Commissioner Stout, second by Commissioner Judkins. Would anybody like to speak to the motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my question to Executive Haley is that we've got a quorum and everybody is already here. Is there a particular reason why we shouldn't go ahead and complete this packet?
This is a recommendation by several folks. We're not even technically supposed to be meeting tonight because the president ordered that no bodies above 10 be actually meeting right now. So we've got a couple of emergency measures to take that are not on the agenda. This is the only way for the safety and security of our citizens that we can do this.
All right. If no one else, we will vote on this new agenda. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Have a roll call vote.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
No.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap, Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans, Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom, Stephen Helton,
No.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Lori Judkins,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
No.
Daniel Owens, Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Rubley,
No.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
No.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout, Cole Taylor, he's out. Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. By the order of the county executive and to reflect what the president and the governor of the state of Tennessee has done, due to this COVID-19 crisis facing our local community, in accordance with Tennessee Code Annotated 58-8-104, I'm declaring a county-wide state of emergency for the safety and security of all of our residents. Over the last week, my emergency preparedness team has put plans together and in place which will be modified as conditions change. All orders coming from the federal and state levels will be honored and adapted as needed to conduct any county operations. I'm limiting public access to all county facilities. I've asked for policies and protocol to be implemented by all offices to accommodate the challenges ahead while still providing essential government services. We will continue to communicate with FEMA, Homeland Security, and all health agencies and respond as necessary to assist and administer programs that are made available. Our local teams will mobilize resources and utilize any emergency funds as needed to contain, mitigate, and treat this outbreak. We will continue to monitor all events and adapt our plans accordingly. With the assistance of our local law enforcement officers, I will act under the emergency authority granted by the state of Tennessee to maintain law and order across Warren County. I'm recommending that everyone follow standard health guidelines issued by the CDC and limit social contact with those individuals who are at risk for the disease. Vulnerable populations should stay at home and avoid social gatherings where exposure to the virus is likely. We all understand that these are extraordinary times where quick action is necessary to protect the lives of all residents of this nation, state, and county. And this order shall remain in effect until May 11, 2020, in alignment with Governor Lee's state of emergency proclamation. I've got a couple of announcements to give you some updates on things. There'll be no recognitions, no public presentations today, and I've asked on the request of both the governor and the President of the United States to limit our meetings. And so information is changing minute by minute and by hours. It's hard to keep up with. And so I've been on conference calls with the White House. I've been texting the governor back and forth, been in contact with health officials. So this is what we have to do sometimes just to protect not only ourselves but our citizens. Both the president and the governor had declared these emergencies. I will confirm, as of 2 o'clock this afternoon, despite the rumors, there are no there's no COVID-19 cases in Warren County. There's no confirmed cases. So we're going to have limited access to this and all future meetings until this crisis subsides. We're going to live stream all meetings, which is what we're doing tonight. And if possible, if the General Assembly acts accordingly, teleconferencing for future meetings, and those will count as quorums and will count as meetings. And so even the General Assembly is going to suspend their meetings. They've already banned the public from both the Capitol building and also the Cordell Hull building. And so they sent staff home. Lots of people are basically working as remote workers from laptops at home. The General Assembly is going to take emergency actions for the rest of the week and only done what is necessary. They will either adjourn and then reconvene in an emergency session, or they'll go into recess for a number of weeks, which means a lot of things that the General Assembly is considering right now will be on hold unless they are emergency things that have to be accomplished. I had an emergency preparedness team meeting on Friday where all the team players from health providers, emergency management, law enforcement, the court system on Friday. And so we put all of our heads together and plans are in place. Everything from the school system to have emergency feeding stations to Meals on Wheels to the hospital to EMS. All these things are out there to combat what we have to do locally. This federal government and state government have both promised funds and resources, but we're just not really sure what the process is going to be and when those funds are going to arrive and how much we're going to get. At this point, we can't worry about that. We are at the forefront of combating this virus. And whatever we do is going to have to be done pretty much locally. We're just going to have to roll up our sleeves and do it. And it's not going to be an easy task. So the health department doesn't have all the resources it needs, and we're going to have to depend upon St. Thomas Ascension and our EMS and first responder personnel to basically tackle this locally until additional funds arrive. The National Guard may actually be called out to assist in testing and also administer treatments as needed. So we're waiting on that call and waiting for the governor to make a decision on that. I'm going to try to send out as many emails and keep the lines of communication open with each and every one of you. But you got to realize that I'm on the phone with federal and state officials every few minutes trying to figure out what's the next step we need to do. The state gives me broad powers to act accordingly and what's in the best interest of our county. And so I'll be working constantly with those officials to make sure that that happens. Since I've been in contact with conference calls with state and federal agencies 2 or 3 times every day since this thing began, we've got to remember that all of your leadership is important in making sure that all these things are done and accomplished. And so our officials, our EMS, our health providers, they have a huge task at hand, and it's not going to be easy. And so my advice is for everybody, to stay calm and don't panic, and things will be okay, But you have to let the people that are in charge take charge and do what is necessary, really for the welfare and benefit of our citizens. So with that being said, you can open court.
All right. Regular scheduled meeting, Warren County Commission, county session, Blaine Wilkie presiding. Please, folks, you have a cell phone, put it on vibrate, please remain standing for the word of prayer, and also our pledge to our flag.
Thank you, Tank. At this time, I would like to ask Commissioner Joseph Stotts to lead our invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you today, gathered here together as the governing body of Warren County. We ask you that you will be with us in the decisions and tasks that we are faced with. That we will always remember in these times of uncertainty that in John chapter 16, verse 33, you told us, in this world we will have problems, but take heart, because I have overcome the world. Lord, let us continue to find solace in these uncertain times in your words, in your presence. Lord, please be with us as we continue to work and provide for our families and our community. And we rely constantly on your strength and reassurance in your word. In Christ's name we humbly pray. Amen.
Thank you. You may remain standing as I ask Lieutenant Colonel John Flanders to meet me at the podium. All right, Lieutenant, well, I may not need this after all. Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan F. Flanders retired as the Reserve Inspector General at the 78th Air Base Wing, Warner Robins Air Force Base, Georgia. He was responsible for base-wide exercises, inspections, complaints, and congressional inquiries. Born in McMinnville in 1973, he received his commission as a Blue Chip graduate from Detachment 800 at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville in 1997. He served on active duty for 10 years in numerous logistics and transportation roles, as well as Executive Officer, Brigadier General Polly Pear. Did I say that right? Pear. He then joined the Air Force Reserves, where he served as battle captain and other key positions on the Joint Task Force 519 staff. Lieutenant Colonel Flanders deployed in support of Operations Allied Force, Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, and exercises in Terminal Fury and there you go, and provided direct support to humanitarian relief operations for Super Typhoon Paka and Operation Unified Assistance in the wake of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami that wreaked havoc across large swaths of Asia. In his civilian capacity, Lieutenant Colonel Flanders is president at Botanico Incorporated. John is married to Miss Stacy Pippi Flanders, and they have 3 children, Cole Cathy, Will Cathy, and Chloe Flanders. And he has a lot of major awards and decorations. Some of them include the Meritorious Service Medal with 3 oak leaf clusters, Joint Service Achievement Medal with oak leaf cluster, AF Organizational Excellence Award, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, and the Humanitarian Service Medal. And at this time, I'd like John to lead us in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Rise up, America.
Hold on a second. I'll get the plaque here. I gotta get it done. All right, and with that, I call this meeting to order. As part of our new agenda, we will not be reviewing any of the reports, so at this time I would entertain a motion to adopt the officials' departmental reports. We have a motion from Commissioner Lee. We have a second from Commissioner Prater. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. And we will suspend all committee reports. No old business to be considered. We did, and this is not part of it, do we need to mention the minutes at all?
Oh, yeah, I did. I did.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we dispense with the reading and approve the minutes.
All right, we have a motion, second by Commissioner Grissom. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we'll go into new business, and this is per comptroller's recommendation, and I will ask Executive Haley to explain this.
In discussion, Mr. Cotton, our finance director, reached out to the controller's office when this was recommended that we take this action on a local basis just to confirm, and the General Assembly is taking similar action as well for state employees, but per the controller's recommendation, we need to confirm the payment of wages to all county employees at 100% if we're subject to shutdowns, quarantines, or furloughs in the next few weeks or the next few days, and that could be the matter.
We have a motion from Commissioner Prater. We have a second from Commissioner Lee. Does anybody want to speak to that motion? Commissioner Helton?
Oh, just real quick, I guess the question I have is, where's this shutdown coming from? The state level, or if we decide at a local level,
We're gonna
who
wait.
has the authority, I guess, to
I have
call
the
the shutdown?
authority, but I'm going to wait to see what the state recommends doing. They've already sent employees home. There's already people mobile working. I've got a plan in place with all elected officials and department heads. They've got policies and procedures in place. If we have to go on shutdowns or we have to have limited skeleton staff, the thing about it is we cannot completely shut down county government. We have a jail to operate. We have garbage to pick up. We have fees to collect. And even though the courts have been suspended for live audiences, so to speak, court activities have to continue. There's orders of protection, there's fees that have to be collected, there has to be video arraignments that continue, so a complete shutdown of county government is not feasible. Even on the state level or federal level, that's not allowed either. So we have a health department that's going to be at the forefront of this, and so we have lots of services that have to be provided. And so, but I've asked every elected official in every department to put together policies and procedures. If we have to shut the building down to public access, whether we can use Miss Lisa Scott's drive-through, or we can make payments or whatever via mail, or make appointments, and so there'll be limited access or whatever. And that's the request, not only but from the president but also the governor.
Any other comments?
Executive Haley, is this resolution going to only be in effect if we are under a state of emergency?
We are in a state of emergency.
Is that the only time that this would
No, I
be
mean,
in
the
effect?
the state's already declared an emergency.
I
We're just
understand.
declaring a local emergency,
But
just to clarify.
once the emergency is over,
Over.
is this resolution no longer?
It's no
in effect?
longer.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton, Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Laura Judkins,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote?
Motion passes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got several employees that have been extremely worried about whether the state's going to shut us down and how that's going to affect their paychecks. And some of these people live from paycheck to paycheck, and with, people hoarding food and emergency situations all across the state, this will give them a little bit of sigh of relief. The next thing or whatever, and it can just be a voice count, Tennessee Code Annotated gives me these powers and authority anyway, but it's just to confirm that TCA allows me to expend emergency funds to combat the crisis. I'm trying to order masks right now for emergency personnel. They're all on back order. We can't get them. And so I'm already authorized to do it, but I would just like a confirmation from the legislative body that allows me to make emergency purchases if necessary.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ruble, second by Commissioner Ross. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman, should that be a roll call vote since it is spending money?
Yes, it would. Call the roll.
He says no.
No?
I've already got the authority to do it.
Okay, all right. All right, next item.
I've got the authority to do this as well, but I want to confirm this with you, to suspend any committee meetings within the next few weeks that are unnecessary to the essential operations and services of local government until further notice. And so the governor's goes through May 11th. I hope this doesn't last this long. We may have to call budget and finance or financial management if there's situations. If we're allowed to teleconference, then we'll be able to do that. But unless it's absolutely necessary for the essential, this is what state government has recommended that we do. And so I'm just following their guide on this.
Do we have a motion? We have a motion from Commissioner Savage, second from Commissioner Glenn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, next is Resolution 8-2020. With everything going on, I'm not going to swap seats tonight because I think everybody knows I'm speaking as a 4th District Commissioner right now from the chair. This basically is the same resolution that I presented last month, with the exception of I took the surrender fee out, and it's basically a $500 fine for dumping. And I really feel like that we need to do this. I know Sherry's in support. She said she would be here tonight if I felt that she needed to be, but I think everybody that has talked with Sherry knows that she's in support of this, and actually it was brought up by her originally a few months ago in committee. And so I feel like it's a way that we can put value to these animals' lives. As we see every day, they're continually being dumped, and nothing seems to change. So I would like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
That was second from Commissioner Brown. Does anybody want to speak to the motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Commissioner Hilton.
I asked you this question, but I want it to sort of go on record. I said in our last meeting I felt like that dollar value should be a little bit more, and I think you actually give me a personal reason why that dollar value of the $500. I would like you to explain that to the court so that it answers that question.
Okay, unless I'm wrong, Robert, and help me on this. If we go above $500, we have to have basically a trial by jury.
Yeah, technically, if you go above $50, any defendant can request a jury trial, but the General Assembly and some case law has opined that if it's not a punitive fine, but it's an ameliorative fine, you can go up to $500. If you get above that, anybody's going to have to go in front of a jury trial, and the cost of enforcing it's going to be quite a bit more than what you recover.
Right, okay. Any other questions? All right, let's call the roll.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens, Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes,
Anyone want to change their vote? Anyone, yes.
motion passes. Next is the transfer GFFY 19/20-14.
Mr. Chairman, if Justin would, he could explain this to you. It
Mr.
passed Budget Finance 4.0.
Sure thing. Excuse me. This is a budget amendment to do three things. One, correct some items that were left out of the budget during the budget process for the airport. That would be the $10,800 and then $241,000 of state and federal expenses that have to be paid for out of the county's budget. Those were turned in on a separate sheet other than the county sheet, and when the budget was keyed, they were not included. Another one would be to create a line item to pay for court-ordered and medical examiner-ordered autopsies out of the circuit court's budget. This is where it's historically been paid, but it did not get included in the budget this year. And then the third thing would be to increase the airport budget by $25,000, which will be matched by state and federal grant money for additional airport improvements.
I think that's that sign you're putting up right now, that's $25,000.
Any other questions?
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Prater, have a second from Commissioner Bell. Call the roll, please.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stott,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? 21 yes.
All right, the next item is the transfer of GFFY 1920-13. This is a transfer funds for the Sheriff's Department from other salaries and wages to clerical personnel. We have a motion from Commissioner England, second from Commissioner Helton. Anyone want to speak to that motion? Call the roll.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy, Lori Jenkins,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? 21 yes.
Next item is to confirm the appointment to the Audit Committee of Jared Underhill. We have a motion from Commissioner Savage. We have a second from Commissioner Owens. Anyone want to speak to that motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Yes.
It's not
Commissioner
on our
England.
sheet here, but do you think we ought to go ahead and do the notaries because that's people's businesses?
It is. It's on the back.
Yeah, I didn't turn it over.
It's okay. All right, next item is to confirm the Judicial Commissioner reappointments. I guess I'll read those. Or do I? Or do you? All right, Kevin Deason, Hilda Martin, Lade Martin, Walter McLaren Jr., Ken Mullican, Mike Neal, Susan Newby, David Williams. We have a motion by Commissioner Bell, a second by Commissioner Prater. Anyone want to speak to that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have the approval of notaries.
This is a list for the notaries. Richard Boyd, Tanya Balderas, Robin Cutrell, Michael Shane Brock, Lauren Zeckman Denny, Kelvin R. Douglas, and Renee Morgan.
We have a motion from Commissioner England, a second from Commissioner Prater. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next, we have announcements.
You can ask if anybody else has got announcements before me. I just got one at the end.
Okay, Commissioner Prater.
I've been in business for 25 years, and what I've heard tonight is basically the same thing I see every morning when I turn the TV on. I'm asking everybody to use your common sense. Common sense. You know who to stay away from. You know, this will bankrupt me before it gets to me and any other small business. I've been on the phone all day with people from the state, health department wise, governor's office also. I've had restaurant owners call me that some of them has worked for me, opened up their own. What are we going to do? Are we going to have to shut down? I said, only if the state tells you to. That state health department that is working in your county, if he comes to you and says, we got to shut down, that's it. Besides that, there's nobody in here or in this county can shut you down without the authority of the Tennessee Department of Health. And all I ask is people use their common sense. Trade with people. Let's don't destroy our economy. This is the time when we need to help it. We need to be there for ma and pa places, for people that buy these boosters, these posters of these ball players and these cheerleaders. You don't see these chain restaurants doing that. Help the little man, because he's the one that's helped everybody else around here. God bless us all.
Commissioner Brown.
I just want to add this because it's very pertinent to this situation. But on Thursday, Mr. Bobby Cox is going to give a communication out to all of Warren County in all different forms to let them know what's going on with the school system. the official word did come out today that our schools are closed until the 31st of March, and all extracurricular activities are halted. And he needed to do that so parents and people could start making plans for the next 10, 15 days. And but he wants to make sure everybody does know that on March the 23rd, all the cafeterias are going to open up, and he's getting all the logistics on this, and they're going to have a drive-by window at each one of the schools so that parents can get there and so the kids can get a breakfast and a lunch. Because we have a huge meal program for our children in our schools, but that's going to happen. But he's going to explain to everyone how the logistics are. But he said to let you know that they are definitely going to be doing that, and but he will be issuing his public announcement on Thursday, and of course. He says, things change that's not going to change. They have that ready, but the school buses are also going to carry some of the meals to government housing areas. But anyway, he says, thank you, and they appreciate your prayers at this time for all of our school system and our children who are getting stressed over this whole situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stotts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to briefly mention, just because I've spoke on it before, to kind of conclude, to kind of backstep and wrap up on it. This last week, the passage of House Bill 1198 in the General Assembly. This was an amendment to a previous legislation that was passed in 2005 that will open up the behavioral health safety net provider network across the state to any mental health provider that meets the department's qualifications to be a safety net provider. So basically after July the 1st, any mental health provider across the state that meets the department's guidelines to provide safety net services for those that are uninsured can therefore do so. Commissioner Williams with the Department of Mental Health, as well as Representative Bricken, Senator Bowling, worked on this, and kind of an end to a long effort, and great stuff for the state. Thank you.
If I could, I've got two announcements, and then we'll go to you. I want to remind everybody, unless something happens, they change it. Our Elected Officials Day at the Habitat House is April the 4th, and it will be out on 56 Bellwood Drive. I have directions if you want to come, and I know Gary always provides barbecue, and that's like he mentioned, we always have support from our local businesses, so he will be providing the meal there. And then also our adoption day went well last week, and I know some local businesses, Douglas and Lanier Insurance Agency showed up, and every employee sponsored an animal, and this one is one that Kelvin sponsored, and Robo was adopted, and that was a good one because he needed an adoption bad. And we've got other things coming. Ashley and Sherry and all those out there are working hard and helping things really turn over up there and doing a great job. Go ahead.
And, the animal shelter is basically closed to the public right now, as well as the jail and several other things. So we'll have to work around those things. And as soon as I get enough information out there from the state and the federal levels on what direction we're going, like Bobby Cox will give a bigger announcement. But right now, whatever announcement I make, it changes by the time I put it out there. So, but my big announcement was this as well. Parts of our state were devastated by this tornado, and places like Crossville are reeling still under the disaster that was laid in their lap, and now this one on top of it has been extremely trying for the resources that they've got. And so the mayors, Shelton and Porter, I've talked to them, been in correspondence. Some of you attended the prayer vigil the other night. We raised nearly $3,000 and 2 truckloads full of food. But I want to commend everyone in Warren County that rolled up their sleeves and drove to Cookeville and assisted over the last couple of weeks in Cookeville. Mount Juliet suffered a lot, so did Nashville. Several people from here also went there. But our utilities, our law enforcement, our EMS people, our citizens, church groups, organizations, service agencies all went. And those of you that went, Mr. Prater went, I went, until you see that kind of devastation, it's unbelievable. You just can't imagine when you look, and as far as you can see, it just looks like something's been chewed up and spit out. And not only were lives lost, but lives have been destroyed for many years. So Mr. Prater took food, several of you have taken food, and I want to commend each and every one, every elected official, every person in Warren County that assisted in some way, shape, or form, if nothing else, by your prayers and believing in those people's ability to lead. It's been extremely trying. Mayor Porter hadn't hardly been in the office in the last 2 weeks, and then this was laid on top of them. So I shared what we were doing here in the closures and some of the emergency things that we were doing here, and they very much appreciated to get a little bit of outside recommendation on what steps they need to take. They're a larger community with a larger hospital and have more resources available, but a lot of their resources have been drained by this tornado. And so just because the tornado seems to be over and this pandemic's laid on top of it, they still need help. They still need a lot of support. And it's going to be a year or more before lives get put back into place again and houses get rebuilt. And, some people have just basically given up and moved from the area to go live with family because there's no other option at this point. So we're a great community, and we, state of Tennessee as volunteers, and we as volunteers do anything and everything possible to lend a hand in need. And so I'm sure, and in fact, I know the mayors of the Upper Cumberland were all very close. We go to conferences together, Washington together, and if that had been us, there would have been an equal response from those other counties coming to here to help us. So it's been an amazing journey to see how compassionate people can be and how they turn out in huge numbers to assist. So thank you.
Thank you, County Executive Haley. Commissioner Bolden, have you got an announcement?
Mr. Haley, I'd like to ask you, just as quick as we possibly can, I need to have a building and grounds meeting whenever we can. Happen to have a price in my hand for the courthouse roof, which is quite a bit less than what ESG was asked, what their estimate was. It's like 15 to 20% less. And this is a good roofer, and know he'll do a good job. I need the building and grounds to meet on this just as quick as possible where we can do something and see if we can find the money to do this job with. And appreciate it just as quick as we can have this meeting.
Commissioner Judkins.
Yes, I have a question for County Executive Haley. It's concerning the elderly, the shut-in. I know we have the Meals on Wheels program, and I'm sure they're going to be very overwhelmed at this point because they only serve a certain portion of the community. Is there any way that we can help in getting a food drive to have a donation center for some of the elderly?
The food bank is needing donations right now. The senior center's closed, but they're going to continue to feed seniors and deliver those meals or have a drive-through as well. And so my church is also going to do that with our Good Neighbors program. So there will be some options. It's just, we're working together to get the list of people and names so we can make those deliveries. Yes.
Okay. With the main concern being the elderly, I'm sure that they were not wanting to get out and go to the grocery store. So there's going to be quite a few.
There will be.
I got
some.
names. If you'll get me a list and somebody deliver it, we'll prepare the meals one day for free.
We have a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Prater. We have a second by Commissioner Stout. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?